All right, so here we are. We're doing the breakdown, and we're going to look at Colin Morikawa, the Open champion, his swing, and it's a swing that is talked a lot about in the golfing world because it does produce really consistent results. But what we want to go over is a couple things, because if people are going to try to copy it, there are some things that you have to know about what's going on with his golf swing. So let's start breaking it down as we go. So the first thing, anytime we are looking at any professional swing, we have to think about what the ball flight that they are trying to hit is. If you don't know, I don't think it's very helpful to look at the golf swing that you're looking at, because you want to be paying attention to why they're doing something to produce a certain shot shape. Now, Colin Morikawa, he is trying really, really hard to hit fades. Okay, so he is trying to fade the ball. If you're somebody that is trying to slice or correct a slice, you might not want to copy things that you see in this golf swing. Now, what is he doing to be able to produce such a very consistent fade pattern, be able to control the ball, and be basically the best iron player on tour? Well, the first thing we have to look at, I think that's very characteristic of Colin Morikawa's golf swing, is his grip. Okay, so he has a weaker grip. His left hand is on the club in a little bit of a weaker fashion. Weaker meaning it's turned a little bit more to the target. Again, that might not be something that we want to do if you're somebody that struggles with a slice. Now, we can tell that he has a weaker grip because when he brings it to the top of his golf swing, he has a very pronounced bow, which we're going to talk a little bit more about here. But when he's up here at the top of his swing and the club face is at the top, when he bows this wrist, the face is still fairly square. He doesn't have the club face pointed way up to the sky, a la somebody like Dustin Johnson. So that tells us, hey, he's gonna have a grip that is more on the weaker side. So what is that going to do for his golf swing? Well, when you have a weaker grip, that's going to make sure that the club face stays more open. So that would make sense based on, all right, hey, I need to get the ball to fade. I need to have that club face open to the path. So I don't want the face shutting. So if I keep that grip a little bit weaker, it's going to be hard for the face to shut and maybe pull it left or something like that. So it can be very helpful to get that grip a little bit weaker if it's something that you're thinking about doing. Now, the second part of his golf swing that is very, very, talked about, very renowned, is going to be his wrist action. Okay, so one of the things about his golf swing is he takes that weaker grip, okay, and when he brings it back, he gets his lead wrist, his left wrist, to bow really hard. Okay, now when he does that, because of where his grip is, he is going to have the club be a little bit more laid off, so it's pointing to the left. And what this does is it lets him bring the club down and rotate his body hard, and he can just keep the face square. Also, when he does that, he comes down, he's going to have a lot of shaft lean at impact to strike that golf ball. Okay, so that's going to be one of the things that's kind of a hallmark of his swing. The thing that I think most people can take away from this is, as they're working on their swings, they can bring it back, bow that wrist. This is the motion you want to square the face. Okay, most people at the top of the swing are doing some sort of cupping. They're bringing it down, they're leading with their hands, and the wrist is cupping instead of bowing. The thing I would copy, regardless of who you are, is I would copy that motion at the top of the swing where we are trying to bow that wrist a little bit more. I think that can be a very, very helpful piece of swing advice that's going to help you, A, make better contact, but also it's going to help you hit it straighter and more consistent, because you're not going to need, at the bottom, you're not going to need a lot of hand motion to be able to control where that golf ball is going. So that's going to be one of the big things. Let's try a shot right now. Let's see what we get. Not bad. little thin for me, but ball's fairly straight, and it don't feel like I'm gonna have a lot of rotation as I go through. Now, I will say one thing, that move is awkward. I don't know if that's something I could personally do without getting some sort of wrist injury after doing it a lot. So that's another thing to keep in mind as we're doing this. Now, the last thing that we have to break down in his golf swing is we've done two things. One, we've got the grip set. Two, we've got our wrist angles working in our swing. Both of those things are going to make it easier for us to control the face and get the ball started on line. Now, the thing that we need to also pair up with this is, if we're going to be hitting consistent fades, I need to have a club path that's going to fade the ball. So that means I need to be swinging to the left of the golf ball through impact, or to the left of the target, we'll say, okay? Now, the thing that we have to think about is, Morikawa has a more square club face. He has a very square club face. So what we see in his swing is, I don't see somebody like DJ where they just rotate a ton, or maybe like Matthew Wolf where they just rotate a ton. But what I actually see is, I see somebody that is rotating, but he is also bending quite a bit in his swing. The thing that you have to think about is, if Morikawa just gets up here, bows it, and rotates, he's going to hit really weak fades that go off to the right, because his club path is going to be too far to the left. So how does he counteract that in his swing? Well, he's going to try to get his club path a touch more neutral by rotating and bending sideways. So he has a ton of what we would call right side bend in his golf swing, where he is bent sideways, okay? So it's gonna look something like this. I'll give it a shot here. Let's get the grip weak. We're gonna bow, rotate, and bend. Well, hit that pretty good. But the key is, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a few body parts move doing that, where it's like, ooh, that popped. It's a move that is gonna take a lot of work to be sustainable. So is it a move where you can get your hands out of the way? Yes, but you're gonna have to use your body in different ways to compensate and still hit a functional golf shot. So again, let's just look at that club path part again. If I'm hitting this shot, when I get up, I can't just turn, because I'm gonna swing too far to the left with a face that's more open. That's gonna send that ball off to the right too much. So what I have to do is balance that out by turning, but also bending sideways, so my path can still be very neutral. Again, he has to work hard on body positions. His wrists, he's really set his swing up to kind of lock in his hands and wrists, so he doesn't have to do a whole lot. But it's something to think about, maybe taking away for your golf swing and thinking about, hey, is that somebody I want to copy? Are those moves that I want to be able to do? Lots of ways to do it. That's the way he does it. It's obviously very effective, but think about, is it something that fits in to what you do? I know for me, not 100% sure that it would work. The one thing I could take away from it is the wrist angle at the top. I think that's something that people can do universally, is work on it, especially if you're a slicer. But possibly the side bend as well in it, that could also help. But again, definitely felt different. Definitely might need to work on some body movements just in general, maybe in the gym, to be able to pull that one off. So those are the types of things you're gonna need to make this an effective golf swing.